Fat 45 has repeatedly refused to commit to leave office peacefully if he loses the election. Instead, he rails about voter fraud and a rigged election. His untruths and obstinacy are by now an old story, but they remain both dangerous to our democracy and maybe to our lives if the fat ass continues to go on this path. Um, many law enforcement and homeland security experts have raised their alarm about possible violence after the election. Nothing in the fat ass's words or behavior suggests that he will be a calming force or leave the White House without a fight, or either in the courthouse or on the streets. We all know after 4 years of this that it's a pretty good bet he will make a bad situation worse. I I'm not the only one that shares many of these worries, but I'm not we're not expecting the worst. Not because Fat Ass 45 will have an attack of conscience. We know he doesn't have a conscience at all, and not because he will put the country ahead of his own personal interests. That fantasy is no longer even debatable. We simply assume, as anyone should, that if he loses when he loses next month, the fat ass will put his own interests ahead of the country as he always does, and that may actually guarantee a peaceful transition of power. Fat ass 45 has a powerful survival instinct, is what they call it. Um, Recent news reports have exposed what a terrible businessman he is over many decades. Um, his squadancy has been an international calamity, alienating our allies and empowering dictators and other enemies. America is stumbling through the worst pandemic in 100 years, with an economy that is teetering on the brink. At the center of these tragedies is is our squatter, a member of the Cerebral Hall of Fame. He has survived multiple bankruptcies of his companies, massive legal judgments, and a business instinct that can best be described as how to lose money without even trying. But somehow, every time after every colossal failure has always been able to repackage himself and sell the next version of Fat Ass 45 to the public. A real estate developer, casino mogul, reality TV star, failed squatter of the United States. This pattern has been noted by the Fat Ass's biographer, Michael D'Antonio, who says that Fat Ass 45 in times of peril has always found a way to protect the thing he values most, his failed self-image. It's not success as others see it, or achievement as others define it, D'Antonio recently said. What matters to him is the story he can tell himself or sell to himself in order to feel like he basically prevailed. The instinct is one of many that allows him second, third, and fourth chances at escape and reinvention. And it's those very instincts that may lead a defeated Fat Ass 45 to just leave town. Fat Ass 45 is good at recognizing the personal risks he faces and staying one step ahead of his personal demise. That skill seems likely to kick in right about now because Fat Ass 45 has a lot to be worried about. Um, First, even if he pardons himself for all federal crimes, the state of New York and the district attorney of Manhattan are reportedly well along in investigations into his business practices. And since pardoning himself is not yet a test of constitutional right, the Department of Justice could drop a legal anvil on his head next year on multiple issues, including obstruction of justice, tax fraud, and defrauding the Treasury through payments to the Fat Ass 45 organization. The second wrong is purely financial. He owes hundreds of millions of dollars, according to the New York Times. He would need some flexibility from his creditors and a new business venture to make that money quickly. Quickly paid speeches will help, but it won't generate billions of dollars. Now here's how the survival instinct um, will kick in. What Fat Ass 45 can do, and give prosecutors, creditors, and potential investors to allow him to live his life freely and build the kind of media empire he so craves. What he can give them is, wait for it, a peaceful transition of power, freedom of peace. To avoid violence in the streets, prosecution of all stripes may decide it is in their and the country's interest to cut a deal, and Fat Ass 45 may agree to go quietly to save his own skin, and there's a basis of a win-win. The same goes for creditors and investors. There is not a bank in the world whose shareholders would allow any renegotiations of credit terms with a man who's promoting violence in the American streets and creating international instability in the capital markets. No one is going to bankroll the Fat Ass 45 media network if our cities are burning and Fat Ass 45 is lighting the match. So all sides in theory will have incentive to make a deal, as much as it might pain our new for the new president. So as much as it might pain the new president that takes over, peace may be better for the country than revenge. The same goes for politicians of both parties in every institution involved with Fat S-35. In the end, the one thing that has severely damaged this country from day one is Fat S-45's utter devotion to himself. And it says it may serve all of us in the end. We only know he cares about himself, and and he believes whatever he tells himself. That for, that form of narcissism may be just a disease that allows all of us, especially our democracy, to survive this grave threat. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Ramvan Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.